Well, about 2 days ago, gunmen kidnapped 20 medical and dental students as well as a house officer. The students were said to be from the universities of Jos and Maiduguri and were traveling to Enugu for an annual medical convention. On Friday, Anambra State's Commissioner for Youth Development and his wife were kidnapped along the Benin-Kogi Road on their way to Abuja. Are we witnessing the return of kidnapping on our highways again? Let's have this conversation with Eyinaya Appolos. He's a public affairs analyst and a journalist. And from our off-site studios, we have Dr. Stephen Okwori, a security analyst. Gentlemen, very warm welcome to Newsnight. Maybe I should start with you, Stephen, as a security analyst and an expert in this area. Is there a resurgence of kidnappings on our highways? Stephen?
Yeah, thank you for having me. There was no time or any day that kidnapping disappeared. So when you say resurgence, I don't want to believe that there was any time it disappeared. We've been having series of kidnappings, especially for ransom in Nigeria. I've been following news and all that. You saw the protest of the doctor of the eye clinic in Kaduna and all that, and that of the medical students traveling to Enugu for their medical convention. The fact is, kidnapping for ransom. If you recall, some time ago I was here and I told you that it has come to stay. And unfortunately, it has come to stay. Do you know why? Because of the economic payoff. You know, it's a very lucrative business that Nigerians are now seen to be perpetrating. You know, we have terrorists that have become kidnappers, bandits also that have become kidnappers. Kidnappers themselves also are into the business of kidnapping. And you have militant groups, on non-state actors, ESM members, and all that. Everybody has become, these groups have become kidnappers because of the economic payoff that comes alongside the venture. You know, kidnapping is a business that has to do with demand and supply, you know, though it's on the illegal side. You know, when they take your loved ones away, at that point you begin to demand for their release, and the kidnappers are asking for something, you know, in exchange for the release of the loved ones that we have. So, kidnapping for ransom, it has been there. There was no time that it disappeared. So when you say resurgence, I don't want to agree, because it's a field that I have been in it. I make bold to say that I did my PhD thesis on kidnapping for ransom, and it afforded me the opportunity to interact with kidnappers as well as victims. Yeah.
Yeah, Stephen, I think you've stated the obvious, very worrisome here. Let me come to you, Eyinaya, that kidnapping has come to stay with us. That seems very worrisome, you understand, to the Nigerian people. How would they cope with such a situation when the country is not a failed state? Or are we in a state of total war? Eyinaya?
Okay, we obviously are not in a state of total war, but then security of life and property is the core function of government anywhere. That means that if you begin to witness continuous insecurity, it's as good as saying that there is a failure on the side of the government. Now, the question of insecurity coming back or not coming back, like you said, it has always been there. And it's quite unfortunate that it's now becoming a norm. Like in my place, they will say when an atrocity is committed for too long, it becomes a culture. It's becoming a culture. There are children who were born 10 years ago. They we were born into kidnapping era, and they are still witnessing it. In fact, they hear the word kidnapping as if it's part of human activity. It is unfortunate. That is why everybody is now concerned about what exactly is the government doing to ensure that we get out of this sad side, because every day it's becoming a norm. Every day we are hearing different side of it. Sometimes they kidnap just to embarrass the system, embarrass the government, embarrass the people, embarrass themselves, the kidnappers, because there are some people you hear that they kidnap, you begin to wonder, why would you kidnap a boss conveying market to women who are returning from market or who are going to buy from local market? You know, obviously, that they can't even afford ransom for themselves. So it is a worrying situation that everybody, the government, those not in government, should be concerned about. All hands must be on deck, especially when we all know that the issue of security is not something that should be left in the hands of the government alone. Everybody, every citizen should be very much concerned about what we need to do about insecurity and kidnapping, as it has become a part of us. Now we know that this thing is happening more in the rural areas. Sometimes when it happens, you talk to the government at the center or government at the various state capitals, they tend to push the blame back to the local areas. Luckily, the system now is trying to say, okay, let us have a complete independent local government system. Could this then be a part of the solution to this problem that we found ourselves?
In fact, that is what I should be putting to the security experts in our offsite studio, Stephen Okwori. Stephen, yes, the Supreme Court has made a very great decision, free the local governments from the aprons of the state government when it comes to financial autonomy, and let it, run as, the third tier of government that is supposed to be. Will the issue of local police or state police, local government police be a panacea to checking the rising or unending incidents of kidnappings in the country?
Yeah, it will go a long way in checking the menace, if you ask me. Now, why? Why am I saying so? Now, at the local government level, now that there's an autonomy, it means that the local government chairman will have a lot of resources at his beck and call to see how to address insecurity issues at the local level. But don't forget that crime is local. Every crime has a local content. Now, when we talk about ungoverned spaces, these ungoverned spaces are where you don't find presence of government. We have our forests, our mountains, and all that, where these criminal elements have turned it to their hideouts, where they pick, when they kidnap or pick Nigerians that go about their lawful businesses and go and keep them, depending when they are released after ransom is negotiated. Now, these ungoverned spaces are found in our local communities, where we have the local government, we have our traditional rulers, and other critical stakeholders at the local government level. Now, in the event where there are issues bordering on insecurity, the chairman of the local government has what it takes. Don't forget that security anywhere in the world is not cheap. It's not a cheap venture if you want to begin to see how to tackle it. Now, the chairman will have resources at his beck and call, where he can summon a security meeting at the local government level, where traditional rulers from the local to the ward to the clans and all that can come to the local government headquarters and other critical stakeholders to begin to see how to discuss security issues. You have the DPOs of divisions at the local government. You have DSS at the local government. You have civil defense at the local government. Then you also have the local vigilante. You cannot do away or fight insecurity at the local level without involving the local structures that we are talking about. Vigilante group, we have the Nigerian Hunters and Forest Security Service. These two local structures, you are aware that the bill to give them powers, or to infuse them into the security apparatus is before the president. Now, if such structure is now given such powers, they can also come on board, because you know that the members of these local structures are very familiar with their environment, the terrain, and all that. So in the event where there are issues bordering on the kidnapping, where people are picked and kept in these ungoverned spaces, they have the capacity to comb the surrounding environment, so that wherever they are kept, they can be seen to be released or rescued at the end of the day. So with what the court has done, it will go a long way to see how to address the menace at the local level.
Very well said, Stephen. Let me turn to you, Einaya. Why is the federal government alone saddled with the issue of security in the country? Or, better put, is the federal government overwhelmed right now? What are the states doing with the monthly allocations of their security votes running into billions? How do they augment, security in their domains?
First of all, I think the government everywhere in Nigeria is overwhelmed with the issue of security in the country. Now the issue of the government at the state levels and what they do with their funds, particularly the governors and their security vote, is what critical stakeholders in every state should face and ask. During the recent 10-day strike, everybody thought it was about the protesters and the federal government. Some state governors will be addressing those protesters and say, we'll take your complaints to the federal government. You should be the one to take the complaints and listen to what they are saying, because the complaint is not just about the federal government. So the state governors should understand that security is also part of what they signed into to do as government at their level. They should be able to provide security as it should help the system and their states to function. But unfortunately, what we have seen over the years is that they do not. In most cases, the governors will tell you, I don't have control over the security architecture that I have in my state. I don't appoint the CP. I don't have this. Agree to that. But you work with them when it is convenient for you. So, like I said earlier, that the issue of security is everybody's business. The governors must realize this. And the issue of the local government that we are talking about, that brings in the third tier of government. Let us not forget that what we have is three tiers of government. The third tier that we need in place now, as the federal government is trying to do, is becomes the local government, where some of the crime and criminals are hiding, the bushes where they are keeping their kidnappers, the farmland that they are disrupting. That is where the local government handlers will become very, very more effective, because they are now going to have their funds enough to cater for the security of their various local government areas. So Nigerians should hold government from the federal, state, and the local government accountable for whatever they are doing as far as security issues is concerned, because we know that enough money are released to them every month to run the affairs of the states.
All right, thank you very much. Back to you again, Stephen, in our offside studio. We know in the southwest, Amotekun, created about 2 or so years ago, seems to be working, tackling, complementing the efforts of regular security agencies, the police, the army, et al. Ebube Agu in the southeast is still birth, and civilian JTF in Borno, the northeast of Nigeria, have helped immensely in curtailing terrorism and the rest. Would you or the state still wait for their own local police? The suggestion, maybe each zone should come up with its own security outfits that will complement the federal government outfits.
Yeah, just the way I said crime is local. So for us to tackle crime, especially kidnapping and other criminal activities we are seeing, we must have to go local, because you saw the issues in Benue that your reporter or correspondent, Charles Eroka, read out, or when he went to report about what happened in the Ayati community in Benue State. These guys came, killed, and they left. None of them No one single individual of the perpetrators was killed or even arrested. Now, why is it happening like this? It's because our local communities, the hinterlands, don't have security presence. I think that the government should begin to see how to think outside the box. We have the conventional structure, the police, the military, and the civil defense and all that. They are there. But we don't have their presence in these local communities. So for how long can we continue to remain like this? We are aware of the problem, so we should begin to look out for the solutions. And in looking out for the solutions, I've said it times without number, is to see how to go local. We must have to see how to engage these bandits, criminals, or whatever they call them, in a local way. There's most times where the military or the police complain of proximity to these communities when these attacks happen. So some structure, local structure must be in place to close the gap, pending when the conventional security agents come to see how to support them. Now, why am I saying this? The fact is, these crimes happen in our local communities. The facts are clear. So why are we finding it difficult? Just the way my brother there said, it is the responsibility of government. The solution lies with them to see how to provide security for Nigerians. It is when of course, we know that the security agents are overwhelmed. Of course, you know that we don't have enough manpower on the ground and all that. But all these things are before the government and the security agencies. They know they don't have the capacity in terms of manpower, in terms of equipment, to see how to sorry?
Conclude your points there.
Oh, okay.
Go on, quickly conclude that.
Now, so the point I am making is that we must have a local structure on ground, and I've said it times without number that those two structures, the vice president was the one that sponsored the bill to establish a local structure, the Nigerian Hunters and Forest Security Service. It means that he knows the importance of the role they will play, such group. We have members that were former military officers, soldiers, police officers that retired and went back to their local communities that are also members of these groups. The vigilante group is also sponsored by the current speaker. What is wrong with looking at this thing? Let us look outside the box. We cannot continue like this. We cannot keep doing the same thing and we expect a different result.
Absolutely. Stephen, Nigerians, yes, they want to sleep with their two eyes closed. But it's becoming a broken record when we quote former late head of state, General Sani Abacha, that if insurrection of whatever nature, banditry, terrorism, and the rest last for more than 24 hours, then there is complicity of the authorities there. Einaya, do you agree?
I agree completely. I agree completely. And that's why I'm also saying that Nigerians should look away from politics and see the good side of the attempt to autonomize the local government. Let them have complete autonomy, not just financial autonomy, political autonomy in all ramifications. Like you're talking about, every community has a security outfit, but they need the backing of government to make them work effectively. If there is a robbery in my village today and you want to know those involved, you know the people you ask. And they will tell you, give me 2 minutes, give me 3 minutes. They will come back with intelligence that will lead you to who did this and who did that. So these are the kind of things that having an independent local government system, well-funded, will help you do, because it now becomes the duty of whoever that is the local government chairman to begin to work with these people, get them funded, provide them with all that they need, link them up with the federal agencies or state agencies that will help them to work, because they may not have the facility to keep criminals, so to say, if they get them. So every community has this already, not necessarily the political security outfit that we are formed by various regions, regional government or the government from various regions. So if we have a security, a local government that is effective and working, they are the ones that will harness our local and vigilante and community security outfit to ensure that we'll be able to arrest these kidnappers and criminals as we have them now.
All right. Thanks so very much, gentlemen. We've been looking at the unending spate of kidnappings in the country and some of the latest ones which we talked about during the course of this bulletin. The 20 medical students from universities of Jos and Maiduguri are still with the kidnappers, and the doctor from the National Eye Hospital in Kaduna since December 2023 still with kidnappers. And let's enjoin the authorities to do all in their powers to get them rescued. Thanks so very much, Inaya Appolos, a journalist, for joining us, and Stephen Okwori, a security analyst.